The knock came before sunrise. 3 hard raps. No greeting. Aisha Carter froze at the kitchen sink. Her husband, David, walked from the hallway, face tight. Their daughter, Nia, stood in the doorway, backpack on, frozen mid-step. The knocking returned. 3 more raps. Louder. Aisha opened the door 2 inches. A building inspector, and the landlord stood on the stoop. Clipboards. Blank faces. Inspection. Now. It was not scheduled. The lease required notice. They pushed past the door. They walked straight to the bedrooms. They opened closets. They peered under the sink. They counted smoke alarms aloud like a ritual. Aisha followed. Calm steps. Firm voice. We scheduled for Friday. You sent the email. The inspector kept moving. The landlord kept smirking. A red tag appeared on the clipboard. Aisha watched the pen circle a line labeled violation. Nia's bus engine growled outside. The clock moved like a slow tide. Aisha pulled her phone. She opened her folder named receipts. She had a screenshot of the email. She had a text thread. She had a voice memo from the last visit. She held her ground. This is an illegal entry. Leave or call the police. We will meet Friday with a witness. The inspector paused. The landlord shifted. Silence pressed into the hallway. Then the inspector murmured something about a mix-up. He walked out first. The landlord trailed behind, eyes flat and cold. Aisha locked the door. Her hand shook once, then stilled. Nia stepped closer. Are we safe? She asked. We are prepared, Aisha said. Outside, the bus pulled away. David exhaled. He set his toolbox down, then picked it up again. They want us out, he said. We will not move. We will document. We will post truth. Before the story goes on, support echoes of Black struggles. Subscribe to follow stories like this. Like for reach. Share with one family that needs a plan. Comment your first thought about Aisha. The week turned harder. On Monday, Nia's school counselor called. The advanced track list posted. Nia's name was missing. Her math scores were top 3. Her teacher had recommended her. The counselor spoke in soft apologies and vague policy lines. Aisha listened. She asked for the policy in writing. She asked for test cutoffs. She asked for the appeal process. She took notes without a single pause. The counselor promised a follow-up. On Wednesday, David drove to bank. Their home loan application had sat in review for 7 weeks. They met every posted requirement. The banker smiled with his mouth, not his eyes. He asked for another year of tax transcripts. He asked for another letter from David's employer. He asked for another asset statement. David kept his voice level. You have those documents in the file. You asked for them 3 weeks ago. I submitted them that day. The banker smiled again. A routine refresh, he said. David walked to the parking lot and sat in the car with the engine off. He felt old anger stir. He let pass like a train. Then he took a breath and called Aisha. We will not wait, he said. We escalate. On Friday, the inspector returned with an apology and a partner. The partner wore a badge that read City Housing. They spoke in careful phrases. They wanted to reset schedules, they said. Aisha nodded and opened the door wide. She held the printed lease in her hand. She recorded timestamps. She logged names. The partner looked at the landlord. The landlord's mouth stayed closed. After the inspection, Aisha wrote a summary. Date, time, names, items checked, photos attached. She sent the summary to the city email printed on the badge. She copied the landlord in the building office. She copied a tenant organizer she met at the clinic. She also printed a copy for the folder by the fridge. At dinner, the family sat with plates quiet. They want us tired, Nia said. We want us ready, Aisha said. Saturday, they held a family meeting. A handwritten agenda sat on the table. Item 1, housing plan. Item 2, school appeal for Nia. Item 3, bank complaint. Item 4, community help. They assigned tasks. Aisha would write. David would pull records. Nia would gather school emails and highlight anything that mattered. They would hold each other steady. They started with housing. Aisha created a calendar. Every date. every visit, every message on one page. David labeled photos by room and angle. Nia added captions in plain words. Item 2. School. Aisha wrote an appeal letter. 2 pages. Clear facts at top. Scores. Recommendations. Policy lines copied from a handbook. Then 1 paragraph on a pattern. Students like Nia had been sorted down too often. She named years and numbers pulled from the district site. She asked for an in-person review with a teacher present. Item 3. Bank. David filed a formal complaint with the Federal Bureau listed on the bank's own website. He described the moving requests for documents. He attached a timeline. He attached a list of similar stories from a public report. Aisha edited for clarity. Simple sentences. No extra words. Item 4. Community. They wrote to the tenant organizer. They signed up for a neighborhood forum. They offered a host. They posted a flyer at the laundromat with a QR code to a simple guide. How to document an inspection. How to appeal a school placement. How to file a bank complaint. Each in 3 steps. They rested on Sunday. Rest held like a shield. Monday returned with weight, then cracked open with light. A teacher called Aisha from a private number. I saw Nia's appeal, she said. Her work belongs in the advanced track. I will join the meeting. I will bring examples. The housing partner replied to Aisha's email. I reviewed your documentation, she wrote. The inspection on Friday found no violations. The earlier entry broke protocol. I logged it. You will receive a letter affirming your rights under the city code. The Federal Bureau assigned David's complaint a case number. A second email arrived within hours from the bank's regional office. We take this seriously. Expect a call from our compliance team. Aisha read each message aloud at the table that night. They held hands before they ate. Not ritual, censoring. This story helps families prepare. Support echoes of Black struggles so more people stay ready. Subscribe for weekly releases. Like if preparation matters to you. Share with 2 friends. Comment 1 document you keep in your own folder. The school meeting landed on a rainy Thursday. The counselor arrived late. The principal watched the clock. The teacher spread Nia's work on the table. These are her proofs, the teacher said. She solved non-routine problems. She wrote clear steps. She taught peers without losing patience. The policy calls for scores and teacher recommendation. She meets both. The counselor shifted in the chair. We also consider group fit, she said. Aisha held up the handbook. She slid her finger under the line that listed criteria. Group fit is not in policy, she said. Please follow the policy you posted. The principal paused. He looked at the teacher. He looked at Nia. He looked at Aisha. Then he nodded. Nia joins the advanced track on Monday. Nia sat taller. She did not smile until they walked outside. At the bank, the compliance officer called David the same day. We reviewed your file. The extra document requests were unnecessary. Your application meets our posted requirements. You will receive a decision within 48 hours. I apologize. 48 hours later, the approval letter arrived. The rate matched the public rate board. The terms matched the website. No hidden fees. No special clauses. Aisha printed the letter and clipped it to the folder. The landlord pushed again 2 weeks later. A sudden rent hike notice appeared under their door. It ignored the cap in the city ordinance. It used the wrong form. It used the wrong date. Aisha circled every error in blue ink and emailed the page to the housing partner. The partner's reply came back fast. Rent increase notice withdrawn. The landlord must complete training. Enforcement will monitor the property for 6 months. Thank you for your records. Word spread. Tenants on the floor below knocked with questions. A woman from 2 buildings overcalled Aisha at night. A family across the street asked for a copy of the appeal letter template. The forum at the community center filled. People brought folders. People brought pens. People brought stories. Aisha stood at the front with a whiteboard. David sat with a laptop and a small printer. Nia staffed the check-in table with a stack of QR codes. Aisha opened with 4 sentences. Write things down. Keep copies. Ask for witnesses. Respect your own work. Then she moved through 3 live drills. Drill 1, a surprise inspection at your door. What do you say? What do you log? Where do you send it? Drill 2, a school placement denial with no policy line. How do you cite the rule? How do you request review? Drill 3, a lender asks for the same document 3 times. How do you time stamp your replies? How do you escalate? People took notes. People practiced. People found their voices steady. Midway through the forum, an older man raised his hand. "This sounds like work," he said. "I am tired." Aisha looked at him with soft eyes. "It is work," she said. "We spread it. We write once and share. We stand in pairs. We do not fight alone." A church group offered to host a second forum. A barbershop offered a tablet for scanning documents. A corner store offered its wall for the neighborhood guide. A law student offered to do policy summaries on Saturdays. Echoes of Black struggles grows through your hands. Push it forward. Subscribe to build this archive. Like to help it travel. Share with 3 neighbors. Comment 1 step you will lead at your block. Spring brought 1 more test. Aisha's mother, May, needed her heart medicine refilled. The pharmacy denied the claim. The tech said the plan refused coverage. The manager shrugged. The line grew behind them. Aisha felt the old heat return. She stepped aside with May and pulled her folder from the tote. She opened the section labeled Health. She had the prior authorization letter. She had the plan's own rule book with page numbers in the margin. She had the hotline number. She returned to the counter. "We will follow the process written in your own guide. Call the plan. Here is the authorization number. Place this call on speaker. We will listen together." The manager hesitated. The line watched. The phone call took 6 minutes. At minute 7, the plan approved the refill. The manager signaled the tech to fill now. The crowd shifted from restless to relieved. A woman in line touched Aisha's elbow as she left. "Where did you learn this?" she asked. "From a lifetime of work," Aisha said. "From people who share their steps. From loss that taught us to prepare." The woman nodded. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. The pharmacy scene moved through the neighborhood in whispers and retellings. The corner store asked Aisha to add 1 more page to the wall. How to handle a denied prescription. 3 steps. 2 phone numbers. 1 script. Speak calm. Cite the rule. Ask for a witness. The landlord stayed quiet through the summer. The building improved. Windows fixed. Stair lights replaced. Pest control scheduled with notice and proof. The inspector visited on posted days and spoke with respect. The folder by the fridge grew thicker and then stopped growing. No more surprises. No more false violations. Nia thrived in the advanced class. She tutored a friend after school. She helped write a student guide that listed school rights in plain lines. She stood at a microphone at the board meeting and read those lines out loud. She looked like her mother, head high, voice firm. David led a small team at work. He posted the promotion steps on a wall near the break room. He started a weekly credit list that named who did what. He earned trust that no manager handbook had ever described. He slept well for the first time in months. One night in late fall, Aisha's phone buzzed. A number she did not know. A reporter. He asked about the Tenant forum. He asked about the folder. He asked about the steps. He wanted to write a piece. Aisha paused. She did not chase spotlight. She believed in practice, not applause. She called the Tenant organizer and asked for a huddle. They agreed to speak together. No single hero. A circle. They set terms. The story would name the steps and the collective. It would post a guide. It would link to resources. It would skip the drama and lift the method. The article ran with a plain title. A family's folder helped a neighborhood hold the line. The comments filled with questions, then thanks, then reports of action. People wrote about first wins. People wrote about first appeals. People wrote about first nights of real rest. If the story gave you a pattern to follow, join Echoes of Black Struggles. Subscribe for weekly guides and stories. Like to help more families find this. Share with 4 people who need a plan. Comment 1 step you will take this week. Winter arrived with a final chapter. The city council held a hearing on a bill that would require notice before inspections, clear posting of tenant rights in building lobbies, and a public log of complaints with outcomes. The housing partner invited Aisha to speak. The tenant organizer asked David to bring the timeline chart. Nia asked for 3 minutes to present the student guide. The chamber felt cold before the heat kicked in. People settled into rows. Aisha held the folder in both hands. David stood behind her with the chart. Nia stood to the side with the guide. The chair called Aisha's name. She stepped to the microphone. "Our folder is not a symbol," she said. "It is a tool. We wrote our lives on paper, so the city would see what we lived. Surprise inspections, moving goalposts, denials with no rule to back them. We wrote it all down. We shared it with neighbors. We won small, then we won bigger. This bill turns our folder into policy on a wall. Pass it. Do not water it down. Post the rules. Enforce them. Families deserve rest." Applause rolled like a slow wave. The chair asked for order. David raised a chart and named dates and counts. Nia read the student rights lines without a tremor. The council voted 2 weeks later. The bill passed with strong support. Aisha did not cry at the vote. She cried later, in the kitchen, with the folder on the table. She pressed her hand on the cover and thought of her mother. She thought of her grandmother's ledger beside the sink. She thought of the long line of neighbors who taught her to write things down. They invited friends and neighbors over on a Sunday afternoon. No speeches. Soup, bread, laughter, quiet relief. The folder sat on the shelf in the hallway, thick with evidence and thin with fear. Nia pulled out a drawing she had made for the wall. Bold letters. Simple promise. We keep each other honest. Aisha taped it beside the calendar. David turned off the kitchen light and took Aisha's hand. "We are not done," he said. "We are steady," she said. They stood for a long time with the house breathing around them. Not tense. Alive. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggles. Share this with 5 people who need strength and a plan, like to push these steps into more hands. Comment 1 rule you will post on a wall this week. Your action turns courage into policy.